Hello, hello. It's Lynn Horde here, the Joy Coach in the house, coming live to talk with you about two things today. So the very first one, before I get into the core content of today's live, the very first thing is to know that tomorrow I am running a Joy Challenge, a 7-day Joy Challenge right here on my business page inside the Facebook. So if you've been in my world, you'll know that I used to run Joy Challenges on a semi-regular basis. People loved them. They're kind of short, sharp ways of learning the tools and techniques for bringing more joy into your daily life. So it starts tomorrow, Tuesday, the 26th of May, 12:30 p.m. BST time, right here on my Facebook page, Facebook business page. So join me if you want to give yourself a boost of joy, figure out some tools and techniques that can help you right now. And of course, we're going to be doing this in the context of lockdown. We're obviously easing out of lockdown now, but it's still part of our lives. So we'll be talking about that. So that's tomorrow at 12:30 on my Facebook business page, 7-day Joy Challenge. So you can catch it with me, turn up live, or watch the replay. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was a revelation that I've had over the last couple of weeks, which has been pretty epic. So if you can see the title, I'm just looking at it. So I wrote a blog last Friday and it was called Lockdown Loneliness and the Gift That It Gave Me. Obviously, not everybody's on my list. If you want to be, drop a yes down below and I'll message you and get you on there. But I wanted to share this with you because I wanted to come on here and share it as well as in my blog, because it's actually been a really big piece of the puzzle for me. So I'm not somebody who is new to loneliness. You know, loneliness has been part of my life for a long time, and I know I'm not alone in that. And it's actually something I've been wanting to come on and talk about, because one of the things, you know, part of the way that I talk about joy is not just all of the really awesome ways that you can bring more joy into your life, but also about the different things that can get in the way of us experiencing joy. And for me, loneliness is one of those. And so I've experienced that, you know, quite a lot throughout my life, and spent many years trying to, you know, work out like what causes me to be lonely. How do I shift that? You know, how do I be, essentially the question I got down to was, how do I be okay being by myself? And even more so, how do I enjoy being myself? How do I be happy being on my own? Now, I had thought when I was younger, you know, we're taught a lot about fairy tales, so I had thought when I was younger that, of course, you know, I would find myself a man, and that would kind of solve that problem. You know, I wouldn't necessarily be lonely anymore, and, you know, everything would be roses. Of course, that's not the case. And you know, so it's one of the things, you know, that we have to move through as we kind of grow into adulthood, is recognizing that actually we have to discover, you know, how to be okay by ourselves, even when we're in relationship. You know, I have many friends who've shared with me, and I have experienced it myself when I've been in relationship, that, you know, the truth that we can feel alone if we're not on the same page, if we're not feeling seen or heard by our partners. So, you know, whether you are in partnership or not, and learning to be okay and actually happy by yourself is an incredibly wonderful tool. And as I said, I've done lots of things over in the last 15 years or so to really help me with this. And I'm going to talk about two key things today, and then the revelation that I had that's kind of given me another piece of the puzzle. So one of them is absolutely creating a really good relationship with myself. Done a lot of self-development work to really discover who I am, you know, what makes me feel joy, what doesn't make me feel joy. You know, I've been into my insides, into my psyche, and really discovered, you know, who I am, and explored my internal world, you know, a great deal, so that I know myself really well, and I really love myself and enjoy being in my own company. So I've created a really wonderful relationship with myself. So that's definitely been one piece of the puzzle. So the other one, which has kind of happened in the last, I'd say, 5 years, is really looking into my relationship with the universe, with God, with Source, whatever you want to name it. And, you know, I've really realized that that was kind of like a stumbling block for me in terms of being able to feel full and alive and connected, you know, when I was by myself. You know, whatever your faith is, whether you know, it could be just faith in yourself, faith in, you know, a higher power, you know, having that connection with something bigger than us, you know, something that is always there, in my view, is always benevolent, is always working in our favor. You know, when you kind of have that connection, it really brings a completely different dimension to the human experience. And for me, it's been a joy to have kind of rebuild that connection, or build that connection with the divine. And that's definitely been another piece of the puzzle. So the first one, obviously building a relationship and getting to know myself, so that I don't need to run away from myself, I can be with myself. The other one is having a connection with the divine, in whatever form that takes for you. You know, for me, I call the universe, I usually talk to God, even though I wasn't brought up necessarily in a Christian household. That just works for me. And the final piece that has happened over lockdown was I had this really fascinating moment. I was on my couch and I was sitting there and I was probably feeling a bit sorry for myself and a bit lonely. And I sat there and I was like, I remember I actually had this mental conversation with myself, and it went something like this. It was, I sat there and I was like, Lynn, I know that you're feeling a bit lonely right now. You know, I can feel that. I was like, but do you do like actually spending time with yourself? Is that not true? And I was like, well, it is actually. I do really enjoy my own company and pottering and doing, you know, moving around and getting to do whatever it is that I like. Like, okay. So in this moment right now, are you enjoying what you're doing? And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, actually I am. So if that's the case, right here, right now, you're doing something that you really enjoy, why is it that you feel lonely? And I was like, oh, well, that's a good question. So I sat there for a second and I thought, well, what is it that is making me feel lonely? And then I realized it was FOMO, bloody FOMO. So the fear of missing out. I was afraid that, you know, I was sitting here by myself, someone or like my friends or people could be out doing fun things and having a good time, and, you know, I'm not included. And as I sat there, the next thought was, but Lynn, everyone's on lockdown, so you know exactly what they're doing. They are also at home by themselves or with their partner or with their family. And I was like, oh, well, that's very true. And in that moment, I had the realization that it was a thought that I was missing out in some way that was causing me to suffer, causing me to feel alone. The amazing thing about this is that we have control of our thoughts. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, if I can just focus actually on the here and now, rather than focus on what I think I might be missing out on, I can relieve my own suffering and my own pain. I'd fallen into the classic trap that I talk about a lot when it comes to joy, about focusing on what you feel like is absent, so focusing on the lack of something rather than focusing on what is present and what is actually there. So what I realized was I was completely missing the truth that I have a wonderful relationship with myself, and what a blessing that is, rather than focusing on what I think I didn't have at the time, which was, you know, having some fun time, you know, with people and friends. So that, and it was an amazing revelation in that moment, because it brought a sense of contentment and peace and like relaxation that I haven't experienced in a really long time. So I wanted to come on here and share that with you. And I actually had somebody email me after I had written and sent out that blog, and she was like, Lynn, oh my God, like I had exactly the same thought process, you know, at the beginning of lockdown as well. So I thought, well, gosh, you know, if there's me and this friend of mine, then I thought I'd pop on here and share it with you in case you also had, you know, similar thoughts, or maybe, you know, it's helpful for you today. So if you're someone who experiences loneliness, get to know yourself better, you know, do some like internal work, just, you know, get to know yourself in whatever way works for you. You know, find a faith, whatever that means to you. I know that that's different for everybody. So just find what works, find something that works for you. And the third one is remembering to stay present to what's here right now rather than worrying about or thinking about what's absent. That's definitely a way to bring more joy into your life today. All right, my friends, I hope that was helpful. If you have a comment or an experience, similar to that you want to share, I'd love to hear it. Please put it in the comments below. Don't forget that tomorrow, Tuesday, May the 26th, we're going to be doing a 7-day joy challenge starting at 12:30 p.m. right here on my Facebook business page. So if you'd love to join me for that, please pop on at 12:30, or of course you can watch the replay. And if you do happen to catch this and you are on the replay, please type in #replay so I know that you've been here and you've had a chance to listen in. And again, love to hear your thoughts. Please put them below. All right, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye for now.